I'm reviewing a not so often seen BMW product, not this, but this Toyota Supra, which has a BMW chassis, engine, and many other bits, as you'll see in the review, but is tuned by and has some of the stress tests of Toyota, and of course is badged and warranted by Toyota. So let's check it out. So I'm not going to try to answer the question of, is this a Supra really? But overall throughout this video, I'm just going to kind of answer the question, is this a good sports car? Because honestly, to me at least, that's all that really matters. So the exterior of this car is good looking. Obviously, a lot has been talked about these vents. Some of them make a lot of sense. Like this one, you know, if it was an actual vent, could help cool these brake ducts. But it's not, it's closed. This one could, you know, theoretically help cool the engine. This guy, you know, theoretically you could think of a use for it, but it's in the door, so purely cosmetic. Like there's no way to upgrade that to actually do anything. Coming around the back here, I do like this diffuser. The reverse light kind of has that race car look to it, the dual exhaust. This is the 2-liter one, which we'll talk about more in the drive review. Looks good. The 2-liter and 3-liter look very similar, things like that. And I also really like these wheels. All right, let's check out that engine now. There's not too much to look at there. Again, this is the 2-liter one there, which we'll talk about more in the drive review. And of course, there's the 3-liter, which came first. And so yeah, they did put a Toyota cover on it, even though underneath there it is a BMW engine. Not too much to look at down there, but thought I'd show it to you guys just for the sake of it. Now, if you knew this car was part BMW, you might think, oh, perhaps it's built in Germany, or being a Toyota, you might think, oh, it's built in Japan. But it's actually built, it says built, manufactured by BMW, but if you look at the country it's built in, so believe it or not, these are actually made in Austria by a company, you know, for BMW and Toyota. Just like BMW and Toyota probably couldn't have justified the cost of this car on its own, and neither the Z4 nor this would exist if it hadn't been for that partnership, because it's probably like a lower production volume car. They actually contracted the production of this car out to another company. I do have to say the build quality is really good. I kind of like how this arches up. If you're on the taller side, it gives you more room for headroom. But yeah, so it actually is built really well, and Toyota actually helped BMW up the build quality standards. They went through certain things on this car and said that BMW had to, you know, change certain things here and there. So it should be pretty reliable. Like I said, the engines in here are generally so far have proven to be reliable in the BMWs they've been in. So that's a positive sign for sure. The interior is pretty nice, actually. Unlike the BMW, this one has a JBL system. BMW uses Harman Kardon. So one small change there. It's the same company though, so it probably wasn't that big of a change. There is an upgraded seat where you actually lose this Alcantara. I like this, and I like the holes kind of in the seat here. Very sporty, very racing. They don't actually go through. They're cosmetic, but it's kind of neat. And then when you pull this seat forward, there's more stuff for the stereo back here. One thing that perplexed me, this looks like a child seat anchor. I don't know, like maybe over there you could put a child seat, you know, in the passenger seat. I don't know where you'd put it here. A couple of speakers back here that just do surround sound, and then a couple of subwoofers there. We'll talk about the stereo a bit later. While we're on the subject though, there is a trunk popper down here, kind of interestingly placed. Now this is technically, I guess you'd say, like a hatchback. So there actually is some decent storage space back there. You know, it could go all the way through and up. So you could actually fit some decent stuff back here. Let's see if there's any room under here. Actually, I don't even see that this lifts up. Yeah, here it does. Well, not really. It's just looks like it's mostly where the battery is and stuff like that under there. So not too much to look at. I do like how there's a cover here, so you know, people don't see what you have underneath. Now, right off the bat, a couple of things different here than the BMW are these gauges. They all look very cool, especially when you power them on. Let's turn it on. This is kind of neat. I like how these have the different graphics and things like that. So that is, you know, a unique feature of this. Also, this steering wheel, it's actually thinner. That feels very Japanese, things like that. They also redid some of the stuff in here. So various places it says Toyota instead of BMW, things like that. Those are kind of like the big changes I noticed inside. There is nice carbon fiber down here. Not a whole lot of storage here. Not in a sports car that's a huge thing for you, but there's this little storage area up here where you can kind of put some stuff. This was not part of the loan they gave me. I already had a Supra water bottle from some event, which was pretty cool. And then there's like this little storage pocket back here, and that's about it. There's no console under here though, but you do get 2 cup holders, as you see, and you get some door storage, things like that, and a pretty decent sized glove box. I do like how this almost is reminiscent of like my Tesla or stuff, where the vent almost, looks like it goes straight across there. There's a bit of a visibility issue there, as you might imagine, but it does, at least this one does, have blind spot monitoring here in the mirrors, so, it'll light up when you need it to. Also, I thought this was an interesting way that the headlights are controlled. There's no like switch or lever or anything. It's just different buttons for different like headlight functions: on, off, auto, parking lights, and on each side, and then the regular parking lights there. But yeah, everything else is very kind of like BMW control wise. This is the same screen as on that car for the climate control. Basically, if you had heated seats, that would be here. These kind of illuminate as you touch them. You don't even have to press them, you just kind of move your finger over them, so they're kind of like touch sensitive, which is neat. Also BMW feature, and of course the start stop button there. So now let's talk about how she actually drives. There is a sport mode here. Okay, so talking about driving this guy, the 2-liter is actually plenty of power. In sport mode, I was actually able to get the back to kick out a little bit, when I was kind of pulling out and turning right. It was actually kind of surprising. It's a very torquey little engine, and it's a pretty light car, kind of overall, compared to like some of the BMWs this 2-liter's in. I definitely don't know though. If you bought the 2-liter, let me know down in the comments. It does get a little bit better gas mileage. It's not like great. And like I said, it is fast enough. And it is, it's cheaper. Why did you get the 2-liter if not for any of those reasons down below if you did? I think I'd probably try to save up and get the 3-liter. Like I said, this is fast enough, but in a sports car, I feel like you kind of want faster. But yeah, all the dynamics of this car are really good. It's really flat. It's not uncomfortable by sports car standards. I came out of a Miata before this, so it was actually pretty comfortable. The steering is excellent. The brakes are really good, very flat in turns. And it almost sounds like you have an engine back there, because when you turn on sport mode, it turns the sound processing up more and you can actually hear it. If you do have the windows down, it's kind of cool. You can actually hear what sounds like maybe a little blow off valve, kind of whooshing noise, in it as you're driving. That's about it for the drive review. Like I said, it's a very good sports car, which was the question I set out to answer in the beginning for you. Let me know in the comments any other questions you may have, but overall, I walked away from this car very pleasantly impressed. Until next time, my speedy racers, drive on.